Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
An 80-year-old woman run down in the street. She survived. Tonight she's speaking out, and now police want your help to track down that hit-and-run driver.
A frantic search is underway for a local college student who hasn't been seen or heard from in more than 2 days. Why police are calling his disappearance suspicious.
Domestic violence and sexual assault have no place in the NFL.
Roger Goodell's first public comments in more than a week about the NFL's handling of players accused of domestic abuse. Good evening. I'm Mark Brown, in for David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. We begin with that hit and run caught on camera in Glendale tonight. The 80-year-old victim's family is speaking out. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is live in Glendale with what they are saying tonight. Jory?
Colleen, that hit and run accident happening right here at the intersection of Broadway and Columbus in Glendale. That 80-year-old grandmother simply crossing the street on her way to the store when she was struck by a car. Let's show you that video right now. It happens in the lower left of the screen. A small black four-door sedan hits her and the car takes off, leaving Luzine Gazarian in the middle of the street. She told me tonight she blacked out for a moment but still tried to get the license plate of the car that hit her. She was unable to do so. She tried to see the driver, but the windows were too tinted. Police say they are looking for a female driver in her 20s and are asking for your help. So is Luzine's family. We showed them the video of the incident for the very first time tonight, and they were shocked at what they saw. They say they spoke to us only because someone like that doesn't belong in their community, and they want your help in finding this driver.
She's just pretty badly banged up. She's got a knee that's really badly injured and maybe a fractured rib cage in her wrist, and hopefully anybody seeing this in the community, please, if you've seen anything that you can lead to the arrest of this criminal, we need them thrown in behind bars. We don't need anybody like this in our community.
I think this is just shocking that someone wouldn't pull to the side of the curb and offer assistance and first aid to someone in this particular situation.
She said God was looking after her, so thankfully, again, she's doing better.
Yeah, her family very thankful. This could have been a lot worse as we look at the video one more time. Other than relatively minor injuries, some cuts, possibly some broken bones. This, you think of a hit-and-run accident, this could have been a whole lot worse. But, again, if you have any information on this hit-and-run incident in Glendale, Glendale police are asking for you to contact them as soon as possible. We're live in Glendale tonight. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jory, thank you. Quite a scare at the White House today.
Now, go back, everybody into the park. Right now, into the park.
Part of the White House was evacuated after somebody jumped the fence. The West Wing was evacuated. Some members of the media were put on lockdown while the Secret Service apprehended the man. It happened just after President Barack Obama and his daughters left for Camp David. No one was injured.
A standoff with a robbery suspect in Anaheim holed up in an SUV comes to an end with a deadly shooting. The dramatic scene was captured from Air 7 HD. The suspect was one of two men accused of robbing an Anaheim electronics store. One suspect was taken into custody by the CHP. The other holed up in a BMW SUV at an auto auction business. Police say they attempted to negotiate with the suspect for about an hour before he opened fire. Police returned fire. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene.
Another big story tonight, the search for a missing CSUN student. He vanished 2 days ago, and both his family and police are asking for the public's help to find him. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has the latest from Northridge.
We have been in misery for the last 2 days. We have tried everything. We called friends, we called relatives, we called everybody we knew, and with no news. We are so worried about him.
A brother desperate for answers after 23-year-old Abdullah Al-Qadi disappears. The Cal State Northridge student hasn't been seen since selling his car on Craigslist Wednesday afternoon.
His roommates came back here at 7 p.m. and he wasn't there. They waited till sometime. Tried calling him, he didn't answer, and then we realized he's not home.
His brother says just before Al-Qadi's phone was turned off, they traced it to Beaumont in the Inland Empire, a place he says the 23-year-old has no ties. Police say they have come up empty on the cell phone, but say they have found Al-Qadi's car and the new owner, and say he is not connected to the 23-year-old's disappearance, which they say is suspicious in nature.
It is unknown why he left, and he did not leave a note The family is asking for anybody who has seen him and heard from him, or possibly it's friends with him on the social media, to please get in contact with them or the detectives at Missing Persons Unit.
Originally from Saudi Arabia, Al-Qadi has been in the States almost 4 years. He's studying electrical engineering at CSUN like his older brother, who says they are very close and has no idea where he may be.
I'm really urging people at this moment to look at the picture, see if they have seen him somewhere, anywhere, anything, glance. They could call the detective who's handling the case, and that would be a great help for all of us.
Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And if you have any information in the case, you're urged to call 1-877-LAPD-247. That's 877-527-3247.
A heartbreak discovery in an Anaheim Hills home. Investigators say a husband and wife were found dead this morning in an apparent murder-suicide. The couple's infant child was found unharmed. Police are not identifying the couple, but neighbors who knew them are stunned by the news.
They were the most beautiful couple. They moved in about 2.5 years ago. Loving, seemed sweet, did lots of home improvements, had a baby a year ago, July. They had a first birthday party. Just the sweetest couple. It's just devastating.
Neighbors reported hearing gunshots. Police say it's not immediately clear who fired the gun.
The FAA now has in its possession a piece of debris that may be connected to the emergency landing of a JetBlue plane yesterday. Cindy Gilbert of Fountain Valley says the 3-foot-long piece of metal nearly hit her when it fell out of the sky. She says she was riding her bike at Huntington State Beach and that it landed with a loud thud just a few feet away.
It kind of looked like it came from a plane. I took pictures because my kids, they don't believe anything that I say. I have that proof. And so I took some pictures of it, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take this home.
Gilbert says she's thankful no one at the beach nor on the plane was hurt. The flight had just taken off from Long Beach for Austin, Texas yesterday when it had to turn back because of an engine failure. Smoke had even filled the cabin.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell breaks his silence on the domestic violence scandal, saying he got it wrong and promising to get it right. But tonight comes word of an NFL team's attempt to sweep one violent act under the rug. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson has the details.
Did the Baltimore Ravens orchestrate a cover-up to protect their star player? According to a new ESPN report, just hours after Ray Rice knocked out his then-fiancée in an elevator, the Ravens got a call explaining exactly what happened on the security camera footage. The Ravens coach wanted to cut Rice, but the team's owner overruled him and pressed law enforcement and the NFL commissioner for the lightest possible penalty, a 2-game suspension.
And if that indeed happened, then the Ravens are going to have to pay for that.
Crisis management expert Howard Bragman says this is a potentially bombshell report.
The NFL is at a really crucial moment. They've said for years that we're not blood sport, we're not a guy's game, we're great family entertainment. Well, now they're going to have to prove it.
Commissioner Roger Goodell spoke publicly for the first time in 10 days and apologized for his handling of the Rice incident.
I got it wrong on a number of levels.
Despite calls to resign,
personally, I believe we need a new commissioner, no matter what he said.
Goodell says he hasn't thought about stepping aside.
I have not. I'm focused on doing my job.
After 4 players were benched for violence-related incidents, the commissioner says he's going to change the NFL's policies and invest in organizations dealing with domestic violence and sexual assault.
It can actually go a long way if a lot of people pay attention to the fact that we really need resources.
Patty Giggins is Executive Director of Peace Over Violence. She hopes this can be a teachable moment.
A key element in reversing this epidemic and endemic crisis of domestic violence is for men to become engaged in the issue.
Football is still king at places like Champs here in Burbank. A new poll shows that 85% of Americans will not change how much football they watch because of this incident.
Football's number one. Oh, it's beautiful.
In that same poll, 29% of people said Goodell should resign, but 43% said he shouldn't.
Well, he pretty much knew. They have to cover it up.
But you still don't think he should resign then?
No, because overall he's done good for the game.
Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The man accused of setting the huge King wildfire northeast of Sacramento entered a not guilty plea. These are photos of 37-year-old Wayne Allen Huntsman in court today. He's being held on $10 million bail and facing a felony arson charge with special enhancements for putting a dozen firefighters in danger when they were forced to deploy their fire shelters. The King Fire has burned nearly 120 square miles and is 10% contained. 3,000 people have had to evacuate.
And look at our weather now. Boy, what a big difference from last weekend. Dallas Rains is here in for Jonathan Novak. Dallas, you have some good news.
Mark and folks at home, 74 degrees down in Irvine, down in the OC. This time last week, we're looking at a horrible heat wave on the way, but not this weekend. Temperatures look great, too. It's 66 up in Oxnard and down the OC tonight, 74 Santa Ana. Fullerton, you're at 74. Now, the marine layer clouds will come back tonight, so everybody's going to be cloudy down in the OC early tomorrow morning, and the clouds will stretch all the way out to the IE. I'll have your forecast for the weekend. Just a minute. See you then.
All right, Dallas, thank you.
Thanks, Colleen.
Also tonight, now the latest on the fight against the terror group ISIS. France conducted its first airstrikes in Iraq one day after announcing it would join the U.S. air attacks against ISIS sites. Meanwhile, the U.S. moving forward on a plan to train and arm moderate Syrian rebels to fight ISIS. But the Obama administration notes it will take months to get them ready. Next week, President Obama will speak at the United Nations and urge more countries to join the coalition against ISIS.
The United Kingdom still united today after voters in Scotland rejected independence. And it wasn't all that close, 55% versus 45% for breaking away from England. Even so, that means the country remains sharply divided on such an essential issue, and people on both sides felt it passionately. Turnout for the referendum was 84%.
We're Scottish. We like to stay together.
I think this referendum, one thing that has shown us that we're very passionate people.
Well, we'll go for independence again, if we can.
So what does the Queen of England and Scotland think? Queen Elizabeth kept out of the debate leading up to the vote, but now that it's over, she issued a statement from her home in Scotland, which read in part, "We have in common an enduring love of Scotland, which is one of the things that helps to unite us all."
Still to come here tonight at 8, a look at this. New surveillance video and a major development for the college student who vanished. What investigators are saying tonight.
Plus more encouraging news for Gordo, the young puppy hit in that police pursuit, and some bad news for the driver. Plus this.
iPhone hysteria where customers lined up for hours, some even losing their cool.
Police investigating the disappearance of a University of Virginia student say they have talked to a man they believe was with that student in a bar the night she went missing. So far, though, they don't have enough evidence to make an arrest. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
Police in Charlottesville, Virginia say they've received over 400 tips related to missing University of Virginia student Hannah Graham.
Was from those, in large part, from many of those tips that got us to the point where we are now.
Police say their person of interest is a black male, 32 years old, 6'2", 270 pounds, with dreadlocks. They say he was seen wearing all white with his arms around Graham's waist. Charlottesville police said they believe that Graham went into a bar with this person, came out with him, and drove away with him.
People saw Hannah, and people saw him, and people saw them together.
A series of tips about the vehicle they got into, described as a burnt orange 1998 Chrysler Coupe, led police to this apartment complex. Overnight, law enforcement searched the car and the apartment. And inside that apartment, when police arrived, 3 individuals.
Was the individual who we believe was with Hannah Graham there? Yes, he was there. Is he in custody? No, he's not in custody.
Authorities said they took items from the car and the residence and spoke to the person of interest, but they had no legal basis to detain him. Graham, an 18-year-old sophomore, was last heard from around 1:20 a.m. early Saturday morning. She texted friends that she was on her way to a party and was lost, but she never made it to meet them. UVA, local businesses, and authorities have put together a $50,000 reward for information that leads to Graham.
Graham's parents said in a letter to the UVA community that they continue to be hopeful that their daughter will be returned to them safely, and they are comforted by the outpouring of support. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
A man who led police on a wild chase in South LA and at one point struck and injured a small dog named Gordo has pleaded guilty to a pair of felonies and has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. Meantime, Gordo is doing well tonight following surgery yesterday to save one of his rear legs. Surgeons removed part of a hip joint and were able to repair the damage. Gordo's medical bills will likely be covered thanks to donors who gave to an online account.
There was an iPhone frenzy all over the country today. Check out a long line right here in Pasadena. The new iPhone 6 and 6 Plus went on sale at Apple stores, packed with fans waiting to get their hands on one. A similar scene at the Apple store in the Cerritos Mall. In Brea, the excitement got a little out of hand and police had to be called in. It was mostly noise, actually. The crowd numbered about 3,500 at the time. Police arrived and everybody settled down. For the most part, most of today's iPhone lines were orderly.
It was so nice to wake up today and see a little cloud cover. Oh, Dallas rain, you called it. We liked it.
Lovely, wasn't it? Yeah. Mark, did I see you in that line?
No, you did not.
Okay, I just was checking. I thought I saw you by there. 74 degrees out at Van Nuys tonight. Boy, the weather this time last week, remember, friends, we were getting ready for this big heat wave that was going to last 4, 5, 6 days. But we're looking great for the weekend. It was only 82 degrees downtown today. And we had the time-lapse rolling up in the beautiful Big Bear today. There are a couple of clouds starting to develop. And believe it or not, tomorrow, as that low tracks right over Big Bear, there's a chance that some of these clouds could develop in some scattered showers. But the lake looks great, and temperatures are going to be fantastic in the mountains. Down in the beautiful OC, 71 degrees right now out of Irvine. We have a sea breeze at 5, humidity at 75%. All right, here are the temperatures currently around Southern California, and we're looking at 68 up at Santa Barbara. Everybody's in great shape. Now, the marine layer clouds will reform tonight. They'll cover all of the OC, so you'll wake up to cloudy skies tomorrow morning, and they'll stretch out into the valley areas, too, briefly in the morning hours. But then after that, the sunshine will break through, and we should have just a fantastic day. Here's the center of the low tonight. It's sitting just a little bit west of Point Conception. It's going to drift, as I mentioned, very slowly right on top of us. That's why I have those instability showers possible up at Big Bear Lake. But the flow around this low is one that produces a good onshore flow into Southern California, meaning the wind's coming from the ocean onshore, and that cools everybody down. And that's the way it's going to stay right on through the weekend. Now, at the end of the Monday and Tuesday, this high-pressure ridge will start building towards Southern California. But it's not going to be a heat wave, thank goodness. Polo's moving northbound tonight is a tropical storm. It's going to be offshore far enough from Cabo that it's not a direct hit, but there will be some rain showers and some gusty winds down in Cabo. Thank goodness it's not a direct hit after Odile came through. What a mess that was. Well, that was scary, wasn't it? Overnight lows tonight, 47 Big Bear Lake. We're in really good shape across Southern California as far as temperatures are, and low clouds are going to be reformed after midnight tonight. Here are the highs for your Saturday. If you're going to be in Simi Valley, have a wonderful day, 84 degrees. Going to be in Malibu, 73. If you're going to be downtown Los Angeles, about 81 tomorrow. Down in Orange County, we're looking really good. Disneyland, about 81. And you will start out with those low clouds all over the place. Here's the 7-day forecast, and it's powered up by AccuWeather tonight. Marine layer clouds, yes, bring them on and keep them, please, and that will stay for the weekend. It'll start warming up by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The marine layer clouds staying at the beaches only. And the Inland Valley areas, 83, loving that. 86 to 90 Sunday. And then we jump up into the mid-90s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But there again, by Friday, it's cooling off again. In the mountain areas, that's why I'll have that slight chance of showers. It's not very much, but if you're going to be in the mountains tomorrow, you could see a pop-up shower. And then Sunday, it's clear all the way. And in the high desert, it's just lovely. 88, 88. Can't beat that for this time of the year. Little gusty winds in the afternoon. Heat wave is over.
It is indeed, Dallas. That's the best thing going. Weekend is here, too. Well, straight ahead, freeway guardrails. Find out who's saying they can't be trusted to save your life.
Plus, why a pilot working the King Fire in Northern California is gaining celebrity status among firefighters.
And could a local lawyer be disbarred over photoshopping? She may be in big trouble over bogus pictures with the star.
One of the pilots helping to fight the King Fire in Northern California is quickly gaining celebrity status. Mary Berry is the only female U.S. Forest Service spotter pilot in the nation, and yes, that is her real name, Mary Berry. Well, her married last name anyway. Scanner junkies say they love listening to her.
Roger that, 4-3. Come to the west side of the fire, and I'll get back to you.
It's like a ballet up there. She is above and beyond what any spotter I've ever heard.
The thing that I do is a very small part. There are so many hundreds of other people, especially when you have a monster fire like this.
Vary's main job up there is to guide the air tankers, helping them to find the best place to make their drops.
One of the many wildfires burning in Northern California is in Siskiyou County. It's damaged or destroyed some 200 homes. A couple who lost their home and almost everything they own has decided to go on with their wedding tomorrow. This is all that's left of Jacqueline Mitchell and Roy Miller's home. The fire raced through their neighborhood. Roy couldn't save much, but he rescued Jacqueline's wedding dress, train, and their rings. The couple says everyone was telling them they had to cancel the wedding, but after planning for 2.5 years, they're saying I do to a new future together. The Metro Blue Line loop through downtown Long Beach is closing for 30 days starting tomorrow. Blue Line trains heading to Long Beach will stop at the Anaheim Street station. Passengers can take a free shuttle to the other 4 stops in the downtown loop. Metro says it's spending $1.2 billion to overhaul LA County's oldest light rail line. It includes replacing some tracks, adding overhead power lines, and installing new lighting. Construction is expected to continue until October 19th.
We're updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
Including the NFL Commissioner's new plan designed to end domestic violence and how the scandal is bringing more attention to domestic violence in Southern California.
Plus a new warning about hidden dangers on our freeways, and is there something that has to change? The new concern over guardrails when Eyewitness News returns.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who struck an 80-year-old woman. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm Mark Brown in for David Ono. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. The whole thing was caught on surveillance camera. The woman survived, but she suffered cuts, bruises, and possible broken bones. Tonight, her family members and investigators are hoping that video will help lead them to the driver responsible. They're asking anyone with information to contact Glendale Police.
Our other big story tonight, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell breaking a silence today addressing the domestic violence and NFL conduct policy. 4 players have been pulled off the field, including Ray Rice, seen in video beating his fiancée, and Adrian Peterson, charged with hitting his 4-year-old son with a tree branch. The commissioner reiterated that he botched the handling of the Rice case.
Unfortunately, over the past several weeks, we have seen all too much of the NFL doing wrong. That starts with me. The same mistakes can never be repeated.
Goodell and some NFL teams have been heavily criticized for lenient or delayed punishment of the players involved in domestic violence cases.
The NFL scandal has brought even more attention to domestic violence here in Southern California. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia says city leaders are launching a new public campaign for both victims and witnesses of domestic violence to alert police as soon as possible.
Overall, crime in Los Angeles is down, but police say there's one glaring exception. Domestic violence calls are up 18% in the city of LA. The increase is much higher in South Los Angeles, up 30% over last year. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck and City Attorney Mike Fuhrer are using the national conversation on domestic violence brought on by the NFL scandal to get the word out that victims have a way out of the violent situation they're in.
If you're a victim, come forward. We want you to report.
Most LAPD stations have domestic violence teams that work with victims, helping them find a safe place to live. One center that helps victims says 90% of domestic violence incidents are not reported. Police say the increase in calls this year could mean more victims are coming forward. Here in South LA, residents tell me they hope the NFL's domestic violence scandal will give victims the strength to call police.
It's hard for them, I understand, but they need to speak out because they're helping out other people, giving them inspiration to be brave enough to tell other people, you know what, no, this can't go on.
There's still going to be some women that are going to be afraid. Hopefully they do come up and tell everybody, like, hey, we can do this, we can get out there, we don't have to stay in an abusive relationship.
This is the phone number for the LA County hotline on domestic violence. You can call it if you're a victim or if you know somebody who has. It's toll-free, 1-800-978-3600. And if you're the victim or know somebody who has or you're witnessing domestic violence as it happens, police say simply dial 911 to report it. In South LA, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
An actress who was detained by Los Angeles police is refusing to apologize for claiming race played a role in the incident, despite calls from civil leader rights saying that she should. At a news conference in Inglewood today, author and talk show host Earl Ofari Hutchison stood alongside other activists who called on Watts to issue an apology. Hutchison, who initially rallied behind the actress, said her allegations of racial profiling are simply not true.
We cannot stand for anyone to just scream and shout racial profiling, I have been victimized, I have been targeted, if that's not the case.
Watts and boyfriend Brian Lucas were questioned last week by officers investigating a report of lewd conduct in a parked car. Audio later surfaced that indicated it was Watts who introduced race to the interaction with police.
Not guilty pleas today from city officials in Irwindale accused of misappropriating public money. Prosecutors say the city leader spent nearly $200,000 in city money to pay for extravagant trips to New York. Irwindale's current mayor, Mark Braceda, who was a councilman at the time, and current mayor pro tem Manuel Garcia are charged, along with former councilwoman Rosemary Ramirez. They're accused of using some of the money to see Broadway shows and baseball games. President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and George Clooney are just a few of the famous faces you'll see in Svetlana Sangri's smiling on her website. The only problem, the photos are fake. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has details on a strange story.
Even in star-studded Hollywood, this is an impressive array of celebrities, from Hillary Clinton to President Obama to George Clooney. Unfortunately, according to the State Bar, they're all fake. An investigation concluded attorney Svetlana Sangre photoshopped herself in these photos for publicity.
She was making false images in order to sell her services. And that's highly reprehensible.
Diane Cartman is an attorney specializing in legal ethics cases. She's not connected to this case. In legal documents, a State Bar court judge said Sangre failed to cooperate with the bar and kept the pictures on her website for months. He called her responses to the charges bizarre. One of the responses, Sangre's American dream has come true as she has been able to achieve a point where now in her 30s, Sangre is a prominent donor and philanthropist supporting important social causes who had recently received the email from President Obama with the subject line, "I need your help today," asking Svetlana Sangre for an additional donation. It appears that was a mass email sent out to thousands of people.
Her responsive pleadings were a little bit odd, and she was never really responding to the process. And I think that evoked the ire of the State Bar Court.
A couple of the times I think I did call the police to say that I was concerned about what was happening over there.
Flynn Beck says she lived next door to Sangre and her husband for several years and heard a lot of yelling coming from the apartment. She's stunned that she would use fake photographs on her website.
I mean, that would surprise me if anyone's doing that. Yeah.
She's an attorney.
Yeah, but I mean, she did pick a hottie. George Clooney's pretty cute, so she picked the right actor to pose with.
We went to Sangre's office on Wilshire Boulevard. We were told she was not in, and they did not know when she would return.
And the court in this particular case is really angry at her and going after her because she showed constant disrespect for the system and how things are supposed to work.
Carlos Granda, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
In addition to being suspended, Sangre could be placed on probation for 3 years.
Now to a story we first brought you on Eyewitness News at 8 last night. New details are emerging in a mass shooting in a small Florida town. Investigators say Dan Spirit shot and killed his daughter and her 6 children, his grandchildren, before killing himself. Spirit called 911 yesterday to say he might harm himself or others. When police arrived at the home in the small town of Bell, Spirit committed suicide. Investigators then found the bodies of the 7 victims, the youngest just 3 months old.
I was hoping nothing like this would happen. I mean, the kids didn't deserve this at all.
Spirit had spent time in prison for accidentally shooting and killing his son on a hunting trip. He had also been in and out of jail on battery, drug, and gun charges, and for now, police say they have no motive for the murder-suicide.
Tonight, the manhunt goes on for a Pennsylvania man accused of a deadly ambush at a state police barracks last week. Aaron Freen is believed to be hiding out in the Pennsylvania forest, which is a big problem for police since there are tens of thousands of acres of woodlands in the northeast part of the state. The 31-year-old is described as a self-taught survivalist. As many as 200 officers at a time are out searching for him. Freen is now on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list.
A new concern tonight about safety on the roads, guardrails. A new lawsuit claiming one of the most common type of guardrails can cause serious injury, even death. ABC's Brian Ross has the story.
Around the country, guardrails meant to protect, doing just the opposite.
Oh my God. I'm really dying.
A North Carolina motorist pinned inside his car after hitting a guardrail head-on. The long steel rail sliced through the SUV and the driver like a spear.
I've lost my legs in a wreck. Are you saying you've lost both your legs, sir? Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to happen. This test film from 15 years ago shows how an ingenious design is supposed to allow the head of the guardrail to absorb the impact and deflect and peel the rail off to the side. But in a recent rash of accidents, the guardrail has instead pierced right through cars and trucks, slashing through anyone inside. Rebecca Dreyer lost her right leg.
It essentially was a spear that came through my car.
And now victims are suing the manufacturer, Trinity Industries of Texas. The victims' lawyers claiming the company made some slight changes, just an inch here and there, that saved a few dollars, but also created a dangerous flaw.
And that 1 inch you're saying makes a significant difference.
It makes all the difference in the world.
This animation shows what lawyers suing the company say can happen now with the modified version. But despite growing evidence of gruesome accidents, the federal highway official in charge says they meet safety standards.
Why did you make that decision?
Based on the evidence that was presented to us.
And you think they're safe now on the highways?
As I said, please talk to Office of Public Affairs.
You can't answer that question?
No, sir.
Whether they're safe?
Safety is a relative matter.
Again, that was ABC's Brian Ross reporting. The company says it is confident in its performance, but federal highway officials tell ABC News this week that a nationwide review of all guardrails will soon begin.
Up next, major headaches for some Orange County parents.
Students are being kept off school buses in the Capistrano School District. Why? Some moms and dads say the district is at fault.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Dallas Range. We're going to crank up that marine layer this weekend. I'll have the forecast.
Frustration and anger for some Orange County parents. Many parents who paid for school bus passes for their children in San Juan Capistrano say they have not gotten their passes yet, making it difficult for the children to get to and from school. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Lee explains parents say this has been going on for years.
I'm going to pick Danielle up. Are you going to be able to pick up your two daughters?
It's a daily phone call for Amanda Bloom, sorting out pickups and drop-offs for her 6th grade daughter's carpool. It's a problem she didn't think she'd have when she paid the Capistrano Unified School District nearly $600 for a school bus pass on September 4th. 2 weeks into the school year, she finally got her pass today.
When I spoke to the head of the transportation department, his own words, he said, our system is broken, it's unacceptable.
Bloom made other arrangements to get her child to school, but other parents she knows haven't been so lucky.
Students were being left in before care and after school care that didn't need to be there otherwise, and there are students that simply weren't going to school because they had no transportation.
This isn't the first time this problem's come up. It's something parents say they've dealt with for the last 3 years.
It seemed to me that there was no reason that a paid customer would be asked to wait 10 days into the school year.
A district spokesperson sent us this statement. We process approximately 3,200 applications each year. Only approximately 100 are still being processed, and all of those have been turned in after the first day of school. Later, the application process takes about 2 weeks to complete. A priority for our transportation team is to review the process and implement steps to improvement. Bloom says those improvements better come soon.
The district needs to place the interests of the children above whatever processing issue they have not been able to resolve.
Mr. Reardon says he's spoken to the district superintendent and the two are working to reevaluate their system. Reporting in San Juan Capistrano, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Some great news for veterans. The Salvation Army is opening a Veterans Employment Office in Van Nuys. Today, the Salvation Army Haven program dedicated a branch office at the Salvation Army complex on Victory Boulevard. For years, they've operated an office at the VA Center in Westwood. The new location will help them improve service for vets in the San Fernando Valley.
This is our first time of having a second office, and we're hoping to expand further into more offices so that we can exponentially help more veterans as they return to Los Angeles County.
The employment offices help returning vets with interview skills, resume writing, training, and targeting their job search.
Dallas Trains is up next with your complete weekend forecast.
Plus in sports, Clayton Kershaw on the mound in search of win number 20. And this game.
Two buildings side by side. The one on the right is a recording studio. The one on the left is a CrossFit gym, which the studio says is making too much noise. I'm Jory Rand. Coming up, we'll tell you about the lawsuit that says keep it down.
Major flooding across much of the Philippines. A tropical storm has dumped more rain in a few hours than the country typically gets in 2 weeks. And this comes just days after a typhoon drenched the region. At least 3 people have died, including a 2-year-old girl who drowned in floodwaters. Tens of thousands of people have been forced out of their homes. And heavy rain caused street flooding across Houston, Texas today. That city's getting tropical moisture blowing in from the Gulf of Mexico, combined with the remnants of Hurricane Odile. Some drivers stalled out in the high water and had to get towed, including the driver of this mail truck.
Well, we are looking forward to a wonderful weekend weather-wise. Let's go to Dallas for that. Hi, Dallas.
That's right, Colleen and Mark. And we are in the peak of the tropical season. You saw the Philippines video, and you saw the rain down in Houston. But so far in the Atlantic and the Caribbean, it's been an easy season. We haven't had any hurricanes hit the East Coast. If you're flying out of LAX tomorrow morning, it will be overcast for your morning flight because the marine layer clouds will be coming back. It's 74 down at Van Nuys at this hour, and skies are clear in the valley. A temperature today downtown at USC was 82 degrees, and that's just about normal for this time of the year. Had a few clouds up in the Big Bear Lake area earlier today. We'll see some clouds developing in the mountain areas this weekend too. Irvine's at 74, down in the beautiful OC. You'll have the marine layer clouds for tomorrow too. At this hour, it's cooled off to 57 degrees. What a beautiful night with lots of stars up there in Wrightwood area tonight, 57. Victorville, you're at 75. We've had some gusty westerly winds this afternoon in the desert. We'll see that again tomorrow afternoon. Riverside's at 73, and as I mentioned, I'm going to paint the marine layer clouds coming back over all of OC. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up to cloudy skies, and not only will they be in Orange County, they'll be all the way back up into the valleys of Ventura County. But the sun will be coming out, and we'll have plenty of sunshine. Low pressure is the deal. Last weekend, we had high pressure, this big continental tropical air mass. We were suffering from heat, and it just kind of sat around. This low pressure area will be tracking across the area this weekend and generating some lifting in the atmosphere through the mountain areas. That's why I have a slight chance of showers, but only the mountains, the only area. And inside of this low, the air is fairly cool, but it will be tracking on off to the east, and eventually this high pressure comes in as we head into next week, and our temperatures will go up. But we don't have to worry about any heat waves coming. Now, we look down to the South Polo, another tropical cyclone. This is a tropical storm with winds of 70 miles per hour. It's going to move just offshore from Cabo tomorrow afternoon. That will generate some heavy rain showers along the area. They're going to be very close to Cabo tomorrow, but this is not a direct hit, thank goodness. And then you can see the moisture left over from Texas, all part of Odile that came through. Overnight low temperatures tonight. Look at that 59 down at Temecula. Skies are clear early. Low clouds are coming back, no doubt about that. High temperatures generally in the low to mid-80s. Boy, what a beautiful weekend it is. In the high desert, only 88, gusty winds up there, and Big Bear Lake at 70. On the 7-day forecast, perfect weekend for us. Right the opposite from last weekend. Warmer temperatures are coming next week. Well, into 87 on Tuesday and Wednesday downtown, while the valley areas will climb into the mid-90s thereabout, 93 to 95. So again, we'll have a little stretch of sunny, hot weather, but certainly not a heat wave. The weekend looks great. And then up into the mountain areas, I have a slight chance of showers for you tomorrow. Only 20%, 70, 70, 73, then 75. And then in the high desert, other than those afternoon westerly winds kicking up, it's going to be a great weekend for our friends up there. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, Dallas, thank you.
Thanks.
It is a race to the top of a 75-story building in downtown L.A., all for a very good cause. This was the scene at the 21st annual stair climb for Los Angeles at the U.S. Bank Tower, the tallest building west of the Mississippi. Thousands of climbers took part, racing and walking up the 75 stories, or 1,664 steps. They raised the money for the Ketchum Downtown YMCA.
Well, sports now. Just 2 nights after clinching the AL West, Mike Scioscia would like to place a force field around his roster and keep everybody healthy, even at the expense of the major's best record. Tonight, the Angels bench being worked over by Texas. They're losing 9-zip in the 5th inning. On to Chicago, where Clayton Kershaw went for an impressive benchmark today, and he got plenty of help from his offense. Matt Kemp continues his torrid September, his 5th home run of the month, with a 3-run shot in the 1st inning. Moments later, it's A.J. Ellis. He enjoyed the wind blowing out out at Wrigley. This is one of his 2 home runs today. As for Kershaw, he shook off a wobbly first inning to settle down. Kershaw, 9 Ks over 5 innings that earned him win number 20 today. Take a look at what Yasiel Puig did for an encore, blasting one over the bleachers and onto Waveland Avenue. The Dodgers with 14 runs, they crushed the Cubs, and with Milwaukee losing tonight, they actually clinched a spot in the postseason. The magic number for the National League West title is down to 7. Meantime, a sure sign the NHL is back. The Ducks opened training camp in Anaheim, and they're definitely motivated. Last year, Anaheim skated to the second-best record in hockey, but they were knocked out by the Kings in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Ducks open the season against Pittsburgh on October 9th.
I don't want to say there's any increased motivation. It's always the same thing. I mean, when we come to camp, we're ready to play, and we want to win. So every season we try to approach it the same way. You take the things that you learned the season before, and we took it one step further last year, and we want to keep going this year.
And the Kings opened training camp at their practice facility this morning. After 2 days in El Segundo, they will shift their camp to Staples Center. Goalie Jonathan Quick had wrist surgery in late June. He may not play much during the preseason.
A court battle is brewing between a well-known North Hollywood recording studio and its new neighbor, a CrossFit gym. Studio operators claim the noise and vibrations from the gym are ruining the recordings of its famous clients. Today, they invited Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand inside.
Here at Energy Recording Services in North Hollywood, Jay Baumgardner has worked with some of the most popular music makers of the last 20 years.
Including the Blowfish, No Doubt.
Some of the biggest names in music today, Kanye, Jay-Z, Miley Cyrus, use these studios. But within about the past month or so, something's shown up on the recordings that's not supposed to be there.
We just started noticing loud booming, just reverberating through the whole building.
And he says the noise is coming from the gym next door that opened in August.
Now, we're not talking about 2 businesses in the same building, one on top of the other. In fact, these 2 buildings don't even touch. There's about 3 or 4 feet between the 2 of them, but the studio still says the sound comes through.
We have to put a stop to this. I can't, I can't have this kind of thing going on when people are trying to record.
In fact, we heard the noise during each of our interviews today.
Yeah. I would like to see him stop.
Was that one?
Yes, that was one.
At Synapse Gym, the owners say they're just looking for a solution that can leave both parties happy.
We don't want to be a bad neighbor. We really do want to work with them. We've worked with our neighbors in Tarzana for the last 3 years, coordinating schedules and turning down even music when we need to. So we definitely want to find a problem or fix the problem.
We absolutely see their concern, and as Allison said, we're committed to fixing it.
Do we want to shut them down? No. What we want to do is we want to stop the weights from dropping.
I don't have any problem with having a gym. I think fitness is a good thing, and I'd just like to see them stop dropping the weights.
Until a compromise is reached, the studio will continue with their lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And morning straight ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. New details tonight about the man who jumped the White House fence. He made it inside. We'll have the latest developments on the investigation. Halloween, weeks away, but you can already get creeped out at one of Southern California's favorite theme parks. These stories and all the late breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
The party in Claremont, Kentucky this week has a very particular invite list. People named Jim Beam. Jim Beam Bourbon is marking its 150th year, so the company threw a party at its distillery. And anyone named Jim Beam was invited for a tour, lunch, and you got to figure a glass or two of bourbon.
My son is James Paul Beam III, and my dad is James Paul Beam Sr. So we've been called Jim all my life. No matter where I go, we always get asked that question, are you related to Jim Beam? And it's been a plus for us. I think it's been a lot of fun.
Also today, a statue was unveiled of company founder Jim Beam.
Who knew there were so many Jim Beams in the world? Crazy. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law & Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
And remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 app. Have a great weekend.
Good night.